Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Ask the Experts. Our guest today is James Elliot from Unleash Your Power. James is a communication, leadership, and influence trainer, speaker, and an international bestseller with over 20 years of experience. James, thank you for joining us.
Hey, my pleasure, Mike. My pleasure. Glad to be here.
So tell me a little bit. So there's a lot on the plate. So we have leadership, we have communication, influencer. So tell me, for small businesses, where do we start?
Yeah. So in terms of being better at leadership, in terms of being better communication, or just even taking our small business to a whole new level?
Let's start with communication, because we have to, as small business owners, we have to speak to our clients, we have to have staff. So let's start with communication for small business.
For sure. For sure. So communication for small business. I mean, a lot of people know this, and some people get it, and even less do it. But often when people say, "So what do you do?" and I say, "Well, that's a great question. I'm happy to share." Because you want to dodge the question. You don't want to avoid the question. But that great question, happy to share. Let me make it relevant to what you do. So what do you do? Tell me about you, what you do. Because people, they love talking about themselves, and it'll create a sense of trust and rapport by you allowing them to communicate and share what they do. And they get excited. People get excited about what they do. We all get excited about what we do. So it puts them in a great state versus this whole, okay, what do you do? Are you going to try and sell me? Why are you so great? I'm at this networking event. This is kind of boring, blah, 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 right? It gets them out of that state. And it's like, well, what lights you up? What do you love to do? Who do you love to help? Who do you love to work with? So that right away will change the dynamic. And that way, instead of just giving them an initial fire hose, and you shouldn't do that, and you should avoid that anyways, giving a fire hose. But instead of giving a fire hose or some information that they may not care about or be interested in, what the best thing to do would be to ask, well, just to make it relevant, tell me what you do, or you go ahead first, or you tell me first. I want to hear what you do, and then I can maybe relate it to it. And then, of course, you can make it relatable to what they're saying. Or maybe they're saying, well, I'm a real estate agent, or I sell a widget, or I have a service offering that I help, company A do B, C, and D things. And well, you know what? That's interesting. I work with a lot of amazing individuals like yourself, and I help them have A, B, C, D, faster and save money while they're doing it. And then they're going to perk up and that's interesting. Tell me more. Versus I do this and this, and the fire hose of stuff that may not be relevant at all to them. They may not care, especially, like I said, people care when they know you care, or they're interested when they know you are interested, right? Or whatever metaphor you want to use. They find you interesting. People will find you interesting when they know you're interested in them. So that's one of the first things where I find that most people make mistakes. We get so excited about what we do, we just launch in almost to our, maybe not a hard pitch, but a soft pitch, and it can turn people off very quickly, in fact. So asking them, tell me about you. What do you do? I want to know what you do. I'm curious. It is a way better way to get trust, rapport, and be influential.
What's interesting is, you talked a little bit about people launching into this dialogue and not necessarily being aware of how it's being received. I was with a client and he was doing a presentation to his company, and he was having a great time. He was laughing, he was joking, and he came off the stage and I said, "How do you think that went?" And he's like, "That was great." And I was like, were you in the same room with me? Because he was talking about change, and change being the euphemism for consolidation and layoffs. And, he was very happy and he was joking and laughing. And yet the audience realizes that some of these people are going to be losing their jobs. Yeah. Right. So there was a definite disconnect between the message and particularly the messenger and the audience. Sure. And how would you address that?
Well, and it's a great question, because a lot of people either were too busy pitching and launching, not reading the audience, not saying, okay, what I'm talking about doesn't look like it's stimulating the audience. How do I shift what I'm saying? How do I shift how I'm saying it? How do I shift how I'm explaining it? Do I need more visuals, more auditory, more shock value, more humor, less humor in this case, right? And I think it's important to just pause and read the room and look around and it's okay. People are so, it's like people not wanting radio silence, right? It's like, on the radio, you do anything except, your mission is not to have any radio silence, have everyone speaking or pitching or communicating. It's okay to pause. It's okay to take a breath. It means, and people will see that you're more confident when you can talk and breathe and be okay with silence. And I tell people, do it for longer than you feel comfortable. And that often gives another chance for people to respond, people to ask questions, whether it's one-on-one, whether it's in a group like this. And of course, to your point, be responsive to the group and what they need, right? If it's a bunch of engineers and people or researchers, for example, they're going to probably want more speeds and feeds, facts, research, data. If it's someone that's more of a higher level thinker, or especially CEO or VP that thinks more higher level strategically, they just want the gist of it, the top 3 or 4 things, and then a bit of supporting information. Okay, good, do it or don't do it. They're not going to want all the stuff. They're going to shut down and you're going to lose them, especially someone like me. I'm a big picture kind of guy too. And if you send me pages and pages to read, I'll never, ever read it. Or if you talk on and on, I'll either stop you or be checked out or multitasking, right? So back to your point, is to really make sure we read the audience, but also the material, right? And you can certainly talk about change in different contexts, right? And maybe have it in more of an empathetic, motivating way. Sure, you can still talk positively about change and growth. However, you still want to be empathetic to your point and empathize with people. And that's probably the number one skill of a leader, a great leader rather, and a great speaker, and even a great influencer, is to be empathetic, right? It's that emotional intelligence. Be empathetic. Consider them versus just stuffing your message or your pitch or your change is good. By the way, we're firing half of you, right? Down the throat. I think we got to be really careful and cautious, especially in times where we've had a lot of layoffs and a lot of crap happen during COVID. It's been a tough couple of years, even beyond a lot of the stuff that was happening in companies with layoffs and with downturns, the economy, whatever. We have to be sensitive to people. And I think that is what makes us human. And that is what causes people to want to listen to us, to be led by us. That's how we inspire people. We talk the talk and also walking the walk, and even taking responsibility to make sure things are done, people are successful, versus abdicating. Oh, I'm the leader, I'm the boss, do it, because it's easy to be a boss, right? It's easy to be a manager, just tell people what to do. However, to be a great leader, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you have a small business, whether you're a CEO of a grand sized company, really it's taking responsibility for the results you want in yourself and others, and the results you want in this case in the business. So a long-winded way, but reading your audience and continuing to read your audience, knowing your audience. Wow, half these people are going to leave their job. Okay, I'm gonna speak to this and maybe speak positively about it, but also have an empathetic tone versus laughing and carrying on, maybe for a motivational speech later on, but not when it's like, by the way, yeah, half of you guys or 30 guys are going to get laid off. So did that answer your question?
So one of the questions I also have
Yeah.
is, about trying to read the room. For many people, where fear of speaking is a concern, right, and they're challenged by that. Many times, and I've had this experience as well, where I've spoken, I'm very focused on conveying whatever the points were that I want to get across. So I'm so focused on, whatever my messaging is, and then I leave, and like, I can't tell you what happened during those 2 or 3 minutes, because it was such a, blur, let alone trying to read the room. So how do we, step back from, whether we're nervous or whether we're just focused on our content, to actually have the ability to read the room?
That's a great question. And one tip and one tool that I give to anyone speaking, selling, networking, communicating, it's called 4-7-8 breathing. And what you do is you inhale over 4 seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you hold it for 7 seconds, 4-7-8, for 7 seconds, and you hold it. And then after 7 seconds, you slowly exhale over 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, one, and you've actually noticed my voice. I've slowed down, I've calmed down, and my voice is deeper and more powerful, more impactful, more connecting. And even if one of these, let alone 3 or 5 of these, can make you become a different person when you need to be on, and it'll help you be more aware, help you read the room as well. And there's another tool I'll give us if there's time, but just to, in terms of context, is just to pause, because to your point, we're fearing, we're nervous. A lot of times we rush and we race through it without pausing or taking a breath. And pauses are impactful. Again, they show confidence, and speaking, deliberately and slowly ensures you don't lose half your audience. About 40% of your audience are called kinesthetic learners and communicators. And if you start off too fast, you'll lose them. Or if you get going really fast in your talk with no pauses in time for them to fully digest and really feel how they feel about the content, you're going to lose them. So that's another thing too, is reading your audience too. And again, knowing your audience as well is one of the biggest things, right? And so calming down, pausing, finding some way of meditating beforehand. Another tool that I love to do and to use, again, that calms people down very quickly, is you look really high up with your eyes, keep your head straight for a moment, look really high up with your eyes. Take a deep breath in, and while you keep your eyes high, then you look up, tilt your head back, and again, you've heard my voice just drop down. And what it is it's a technique to really help simmer you down and bring you into a calm place. And it activates your parasympathetic nervous system to calm you the heck down. And whether it's a good message or bad message you need to deliver, whether you're excited or nervous or scared or fearful, it'll make your whole delivery way more impactful. And it'll also have you in a better headspace to be able to read the room. Okay, these guys up front are talking, this person's on their phone, these people look like they're not getting it, these guys here look like they're not bored. What do I need to switch something up? Am I using too many visuals here? Am I using too much? Am I just reading PowerPoint? Am I not using enough visuals? And that way, visual learners, the other 40% of people in the world, again, I like visuals. I don't like death by PowerPoint. However, I do like visuals, short, clean, even if it's a picture or a few words or a picture with a few words. I think visuals are powerful, and visual examples, whiteboarding is powerful. Again, 40% of learners are visual. So if you're not giving them some sort of visuals, you're basically losing almost half your audience. So that's another way to do it, but slowing down and reading the room. And here's the key. Here's the key. It's talking to people, because you're looking around having a conversation with Jane and Bob and Margaret, or maybe it's only 1 or 2 people or 3 because it's an entrepreneur, for example. Or maybe you're a small business and you're talking to a large business and you are talking to a panel, a group of people. Make sure you're talking to the people and not talking at them. Make sure you're not just talking to one people. Make sure you are talking to several people, which is a very powerful thing to do. People will like you and you'll engage with them. If you only talk to the one person in front of you, then you're likely going to be dismissed by others. You won't build rapport and trust with them because you haven't talked to them, you haven't acknowledged them, you haven't spoken to them, right? And same thing in audience. The old advice about, oh, look at the back wall and just focus on the back wall and ignore the audience in front of you is the worst advice ever. The worst advice ever. Because you're talking at people, and that's boring. People hate being talked at, right? We want to be interactive, and like you, sort of with the cell phone, or you, man, with the whatever, or just like you, or who's got this, and who wants that, and who needs this. And make it interactive is my final point to that. Is make it interactive. Ask questions. Ask questions, especially when you're pitching. Be asking questions more than you're talking. And of course, if you're giving a speech, and again, you're a little nervous, feel free to pause, ask questions. Hey, hands up, everyone that this. Or hands up, everyone at that. Or how about this? Is this of interest? Or do you guys want to be able to do this? Does everyone need this or think this? Or have you ever blank? Or have you never blank? That's another way as well. Make it very interactive. And it also gets out of your head too. It gets you out of your head. And oh, what if they like me? And what if they don't like me? What if they don't buy my thing? I hope they like me. I hope I get hired again, whatever it is. And the problem with that is you're making it all about you. People like, oh, well, I don't know if they're going to like me. And what if I dress wrong or dress too high or dress too low, or what about this and that? And I said, well, that's interesting. You're making it all about you when in fact, You need to make it all about them. And that's when they'll love you. Your presentation can be imperfect. You can screw up your whiteboarding. Your PowerPoint may have issues. But if you make it all about them and really aim to give them your best and stay out of your own head and make it, how can I give these people my best? What do they need from me? What do they need from me now? And what do they need from me now? I guarantee you, stuff can go wrong. If you're interacting with them, you're engaging, you're saying, hey, what about you? Or what would you need? Or what would you want? Does that sound good? Who thinks this or who thinks that? Talk to them. I can promise you a million things can screw up and go wrong. And if you make it about them and your desire is to help them and give value to them, you really can't go wrong. And people will forgive a lot when you make it interactive and make it about them versus just your agenda and pushing your thing and your prerogative. So that's the final bow for your question.
And so tell us a little bit about training influencers. What does that look like?
Yeah. So it's amazing. It's a lot of fun. I love helping people who need to lead people, inspire people, need to influence people. And a lot of things we talk about are how to be influential and how some of the most natural influencers in the world, the most naturally influential, and most have had training, most have taken training similar or not to mine, but most have had training or had a mentor anyways. But influence is an amazing thing, and teaching leaders, teaching influencers, teaching entrepreneurs, because we're all influencers, we're all leaders, right? And teaching people, whether you're a corporate leader, whether you're an entrepreneur, I think you're leaders. I think we're all leaders. And teaching people how to connect instantly, how to have great rapport, how to get trust quickly from people, how to get people to trust and like you quickly, how to show credibility in an interesting way versus just being looped in, okay, this is another SEO guy, another web guy, another trainer, another teacher, another, real estate agent, whatever it is, another software company. To be able to quickly get that trust and that credibility is paramount. Otherwise, people can dismiss us in as little as 10 seconds. People will just shut down and dismiss. And you get the oh, cool. Oh yeah, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, okay, bye. Right? We get the shutdown. So it's amazing. I love teaching these tools of how to communicate, what modalities to use to communicate, and thus you are influential when you do that. How to walk the talk and how to do what you say you're going to do, which again, most of us don't do all the time. And if you do, even if you don't want to, don't feel like it, or you're tired or whatever, or change your mind, if you do what you said you were going to do, then you will have respect. You will be an influencer. You will be a leader. And so influence is all about helping others. It's all about tools and strategies and what humans respond to best. One of the best examples is giving value, and giving value first, giving something first to someone. Whatever. That's why a lot of the free ebooks or the webinars help. You're giving them, you're teaching them, you're giving them value. So find ways to give someone value. Maybe it's in your database, knowing, Mike likes motorbikes, or Mike likes boat racing, or whatever, sports cars. And if I see some, the Toronto or the whatever exposition is on, or the car show is on, or whatever it is, there's the motorbike show or whatever, then I can be like, hey, I'm not sure you saw this. Wanted to give you a heads up. I know you like blank. And it'll do two things. First of all, your connection and likability and rapport are going to skyrocket, because like, holy crap, James remembered that I like skydiving or motorbikes or whatever, or fishing, whatever. And then second of all, you've done something nice for them. Wow. Thank you for thinking it. Thank you for thinking of me. And it can be a call, an email. Hey, a quick call, sent you an email. I know your kids like whatever, Barney, or whatever the latest kids say, I don't know, Paw Patrol. And, heads up, there's a 50% off coupon on Paw Patrol, and it's coming, blah, blah, blah. If you buy within the next day or two, thought it might interest you, check your email. By the way, how's it going? What's new? And giving value and delivering value like that is hugely influential. It's hugely influential. So there's a whole number of things to create influence and to be influential, but it's to help people, to give value and to help first, give value first, and seek to help, and then walk your talk. Actually walk the talk versus just talking the talk. Two of the biggest ways. I have many more. Two of the biggest ways to be influential. right? And I guess the third was tied on, find ways to get credibility. Testimonials, customer stories, delighting people who I'm very blessed. Any of my students, my graduates from my courses are very happy to get on the phone with someone or email and say, yeah, James is the real deal. He's legit. He's amazing. And that creates a huge amount of influence too, because it gives people that safe feeling. Okay, this is safe. It's safe to spend my money, to invest my time. It's safe to do this. So that's another thing as well, how people can be influential. But I love teaching tools of influence, because when you're influenced, when you have influence, you become affluent. You close the deal. You enroll people. You sign people up. You have people refer to you because people like you. There's that trust rapport. You can communicate. I mean, influence is always about, it's all about being able to communicate effectively. And that is something I love to teach as well. We talked a bit about it earlier too. To be influential, people need to hear your message. They need to get what you're talking about and know what the hell you're saying. So if we're over communicating or under communicating, then you fall flat. If you're communicating in different modalities than what people learn by or communicate by, let's say you're just talking about something and they need visuals, or you're showing only visuals and they would rather talk about it or be given an example or be taken through something with you. They want to do something with you, experience it. Then again, you're missing out on these people. And honestly, people are miscommunicating with up to 80% of people out there. In fact, it's probably higher than that, but people are miscommunicating. People are missing your message. Up to 60 to 80% of people are literally missing your message. And that's huge. That's huge, because we're doing a lot more work and getting a lot less results than we could do. So that's a long-winded to answer your question, but I wanted to, again, tie that out with a complete bow.
Yeah, so maybe my next question would be, a couple of years ago, I was giving a presentation, and clearly a minute or two into the presentation, I realized it wasn't going well, right? And how do you save that? Like, so you've prepared this, so you have your sort of monologue, but it's not working. So what do we do when whatever we're trying to communicate is not happening?
Yeah, a great question. Great question. And the first thing I would start to do is I would engage the audience first. And I would also tell them why the hell they should care. Because often people check out, they have to go to something. They're there by not by choice usually. They have to go to something. Or okay, this is a seller, they're going to pitch us, right? The first thing is to get into really the why and why they should care. And by giving them the outcomes, and okay, by doing this, you're going to have that. You'll save time. You'll make more money. You'll be more efficient. You'll have more time to travel. You'll be enjoying what you do all day, whatever it is. Your website will perform better. Your marketing for your marketing dollars will go way further, so you can spend less, get on less calls with people, yet you're making way more money because the right people are coming to you. Again, just as an example. So that's one way too, is telling them, giving them a why, giving them the big why. Okay, this is why the hell you should listen to me. Because if you just start and launch into something, then people, 25 to 35% of people need the why. I'm one of them. I need the why before I start to listen, before the brain is engaged. Okay, you're starting off the facts and speeds and feeds and telling me about this new mouse you have that you're trying to sell me. Why do I care? Why do I need a new mouse? Oh, well, this one, I don't know, it gives your hand massage and it makes you 25% more efficient, and it decreases carpal tunnel syndrome by 80%, and it's lighter and the battery lasts forever, and yeah, it makes you more efficient. I don't know, something like that. And that way you can work more efficiently and with less pain and get more done. Okay, cool. Now you got my attention. Now it's okay, cool. Tell me about the mouse. Tell me more. So that's one thing, is telling them why the hell they should listen to you and why they should care. That's a huge part of it, and pivot to that. Asking questions is a good pivot as well. If something's not going well, asking questions, and the questions can be one of two forms. Who would like to know how to blank? Who wants to work less? Who wants to make more money? Who wants to work less and make more money? Who wants to get better results than what they want? Who wants to be on the phone with less numbers of clients, yet close more? Again, whatever it is, whatever someone's shtick is, whatever their shtick is, Would you like this? Would you like that? And get people engaged, get people raising hands, have some fun. No, just me, or just Bob in the front here. No one else wants, and play with it, have some fun with it too. Which again, humor and comedy can have fun. And nobody, am I in the right room? Maybe I'm in the wrong room. And have some fun with it. Really is my thing. And then B is just, guys, I had an agenda. I had a thing planned to talk to you about, but I really don't want to talk at you. I want this to be enjoyable and valuable. Can you guys tell me, and whether you're in a group of 3 or 30 or 300, 3,000, just shout it out or hands up. What is the challenges right now? What would you like to know? What do you want to know how to do better? What is getting in your way, everybody? What's getting in your way? What do you need? And that's a good way too, because they know you care. Again, people are interested and find you interesting when they know you care, when they know you're interested in them. So sometimes I've stopped and I've almost completely thrown my talk, and I will get into the talk later. I'll get back into it, or part of it, or none of it. And it'll just be great interaction. I mean, we're all experts in what we do. It's pretty easy to just talk from the heart and give them value. Oh, wow, you have no interest at all in how to hang a thing, a whiteboard thing to your wall. You guys are all worried about, how to keep your jobs, or how to sell in a down economy. Oh my goodness, well, let's look, or how to get more leads in a down economy. Well, let's switch to that. Let's get you guys more efficient and making more money in a down economy. Is that more of interest to you guys? And of course, everyone's like, yeah, that's, or whatever, right? So asking questions is great. And as the saying goes, the first thing that gets thrown out the window in a war is the plan. Now, yes, plan, because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. However, again, in a war or battle, the first thing that gets thrown out the window is the plan. So sometimes it needs to happen, and just respond to them. And it's, what do you guys want? What are you interested in? What are your challenges, worries, goals? What do you want to talk about? And then apply what you do, how your service can help, apply that to them, and connects them to what they're interested in. And will we ever have their interest, and you will ever hold their interest too.
You said that a large majority of the messaging gets lost or misinterpreted. Can you speak a little bit about the nonverbal things that are going on that interfere with your messaging?
Huge. That's a great question, actually. Really good question. So communication styles aside, learning styles, whether someone learns more visually, learns more by hearing, learns more by doing, or learns by lots of facts and research and information, speeds and feeds. They love that stuff. I can't stand it. I get bored to tears in 5 seconds. So aside from that, because that's very important too, and again, you're often missing 80% of people. Often what really has people dismiss you and shut you down is too much fidgeting, unconscious body language, that you're stressed or nervous, a lot of touching the face, touching the eyes, fidgeting, hands in pockets, hands moving in pockets, in and out of pockets. Lots of things like that. The dry mouth, or that some people, that the noise they make when your mouth is dry and you're really stressed and your tongue is not relaxed as well. That distracts. I mentioned taking breaths as well, pausing and just going like you're being paid for every second you fill space. If you just go, that will also have people dismiss you, because it seems like you're nervous and not confident. It seems like you're overwhelmed, and you are overwhelming them. You're just like a fire hose overwhelming them. It's not ideal. And so this is why one of the many reasons is that people dismiss us. We're nervous. We have body language. Sometimes we appear closed. This actually doesn't necessarily mean someone is closed off or bored. By the way, guys, that's just one body movement. We have to use context and themes. So if people in the audience, by the way, as an aside, if people in the audience like this, it may not mean that they're bored. They don't like it. They may be cold. For me, this is very comfortable. For a lot of people, you lean back in their chair, it's quite comfortable. So avoid getting in your head as well if they have that kind of body language. However, for yourself, yeah, you don't really want to have any blocking body language, anything behind your back, which again, unconsciously shows that maybe you're hiding something. You also don't want to you don't want to do the fig leaf and cover the family jewels. Again, shows a sign of nervousness, stress, lack of confidence as well. Just hands by your side and gesture without going too crazy. Gesture and make it interact, because if you're like this talking about whatever for the whole time, and you're monotonous or no animation or no movement, and you're still and not doing anything, it kind of gets boring. And again, body language is a huge 50 to 60% of communication is body language. Body language. So that's why communicating using your body, gestures, facial expressions, it's more interesting, and it'll communicate more. Even if people aren't necessarily getting what's coming out of your mouth, they're seeing, you make emphasis, and this is a big deal. This is really, really important. And it takes communication to a whole new level if you use body language effectively, instead of just doing this all the time. You don't want to do the flapping of the wings all the time, because that's not good. You want to gesture intentionally when you talk to people, and like have them really think about this, guys, because this is a great thinking pose. Really thinking about what you can have. So that's another thing on body language, and on what can distract people. Again, too much touching face, rubbing eyes, is whatever, muddling noses, covering your mouth too. Covering your mouth, people do under duress and stress and nervousness, or a lack of confidence in what they've said as well. The whole pinching of the lips can actually show that you're withholding something. Again, it's the theme. It's not this means that. It can means you're withholding something, or you're a little stressed. So you want to avoid a lot of these unconscious body language and body movements. You want to make deliberate, confident body movements and show that you're open. Make gestures, navel level gestures, chest level gestures as well, and be on point with what you're doing. Did I answer the question there, Mike?
You did. To move on to another subject, most of us aren't very great extemporaneous speakers. How much should we practice when we're preparing for a speech?
So it's a really great question. And here's a really cool answer that most people like, because you don't have to practice for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. I would suggest practicing, yes, and running through it several times, yes, especially, it's very important, yes. However, if you make it about them, you make it more interactive, you focus on what do they need, how can I give them my best, what do they need at any given moment, versus to be in the headspace of, oh, I hope they buy, I hope they like me, I hope they don't, boo me or say this is crap, or I hope they don't get bored, or I hope they're not on their phones, or, I hope they listen to me, and I hope they buy my thing, and because I got to pay my bills and this and that. And you're in your head, you're not making it about them. So that's one way to be communicating well, is instead of reciting something that you've memorized in your head, yes, know your content, know what you're going to say, but instead of memorizing it word for word, which is also very boring to listen to someone regurgitate it like a computer or like an audiobook, is to really know your stuff, yes, however, be interactive, ask questions, and make pauses, and that'll allow you to collect yourself and next thoughts. So that's why this is so important, guys.
And do you recommend that folks videotape themselves?
You can, yep. And that way you can show a friend or a mentor, hey, you're touching your face all the time, or maybe you'll see yourself touching, or you're gesturing too much, you're just doing this all the time, versus having powerful, specific gestures of let's say the PowerPoint here, the whatever, or this is why this is so important. This is why you need to, this is why you can connect with blah, blah, blah. Gesturing is great. Going too crazy is too crazy. But also it's great to be able to have people see what you're emphasizing and make it more interesting, interactive, right? And adjust your tone of voice. Make it, guys, this is so important, versus this is really a really important topic. You guys really need to understand this, right? So that's one thing. And yes, videotaping is great. You can watch yourself. You can have a mentor watch you, or even a friend. Hey, what do you see? Were you talking fast or too high or low? Or you look nervous, or you look rushed, or you look frumpled, or your brow does this every time you say, you can do this, or every time you say, you trust me, you can shake your head. Or a lot of people cancel themselves out. This is really great, or you could really trust me, and they'll shake their head. It's funny to watch. But yeah, I think videotaping yourself is great too, because you'll catch your own mistakes. You'll get better on your own as well.
What's interesting, because it's sort of like, when you're a kid and you first heard your voice on a tape recorder, and you're like, wow, because your voice sounds different in your head than it does in real world. And I think that the videotape does a similar exercise where, because we will give feedback to folks about their presentations, and they're like, eh. And then we're like, then we show them the video, and they're like,
wow. Exactly. You didn't take a single breath.
The other thing that's interesting, and this is one that I've learned from doing this, is we do transcripts. And part of the exercise of the transcripts is we start to pick up on phrases that we use that are fill words.
Yes.
And we don't think we're using them a lot until we read the transcript and like, oh my God, I said,
Like,
100 times.
okay, and you're absolutely right. You can count your own. One exercise I shared, I said, count your own filler words, either by word, okay, how many why, I have a little tally. And that's obviously not a good thing. To your point, it shows a lack of confidence, a lack of expertise, a lack of familiarness with the material. Now, it's not like you're never going to say one of those words or never or ah, but if you're doing it a lot, yes, you'll look like an amateur. People will dismiss you. They'll distrust you, that this person doesn't know what they're talking about. They're not confident in what they're talking about. Your degree of your confidence about who you are, what you do, how well you do it, and what you're talking about will be the degree that people get it, like it, trust you, and say, I want to do this, versus, well, that sounds good, but I'm sure as hell not working with this person. To your point.
Yeah, the odd counter is an old throwover from like the Toastmaster days, right? Where
Exactly.
We would keep track of it and figure out who had the worst of filler words and things like that. But it's really important to sort of bring those things to people's attention when they're presenting. So the last thing we have is there's a section here for the international best-selling author. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So, and this is where it pays to just live in action, be in action, just do it. Like Sir Richard Branson says, screw it, just do it. Like the shoe says, just do it. Or I love Justin Sterling, F it, just do it. And it gets us out of our head. It took me 3 years to write the book, going back to the drawing board multiple times. And then when I said, this is it, I don't care what people think, I'm giving my best. And I don't care if people like it or love it or hate it, I'm giving them my best. This is what I'm going to do. I want to write to what I'm passionate about. And I don't care if some people hate it. It took me like 2.5 weeks to write in Thailand. And that was boom, done, 2.5 weeks. So it was amazing becoming an author. A lot easier than I thought it was.
And the title of the book was?
So the book's Unleash Your Power, and I'll flash it here for you, because it's definitely a symbol of pride. Something I overanalyzed for years, wondering, are people going to like this? It's a symbol of pride, and it also can create legitimacy, expertise. It can create influence, and you don't have to write your own book. It really helps. You can have your own podcast. You can have anything. You can have an ebook that you write and give away for free or charge or whatever. But anything, any value you give people, showing your expertise. I mean, yes, a physical book is a really great way to do it, and it provides instant credibility. If you're not a doctor or a PhD, this is the next best thing. And often nowadays, because everyone and doctors and all the stuff that's going on with pharmaceuticals, and I won't get into it, often an author, best-selling author, multiple author is better than being a doctor of something. So it's a huge credibility piece, even if it's an ebook. Yes, these books, the real books, are more credible. It's something someone can't ignore because it's here. You can sign it for them, which means a lot, and it's a business card they'll never throw out. Ebooks, again, are great, but also they can be ignored. They can be downloaded and never watched again. And you won't have it on your desk, and people are like, well, what is that? Who is James Elliot? What's Unleash Your Power? What's that? So anyway, food for thought. The book writing experience is very humbling, very interesting, something I loved and something I got a ton out of, and it was a lot of fun. And a lot of learnings on how my next book will be even better. And it was a lot of fun. And it's a cool gift you can give. Speaking of influence and giving something, that influence, give value. It's like, you know what? I'd like to, whatever. I'm gonna gift you a copy of my ebook. I'm gonna give you a copy of my book, rather, not ebook. I'm gonna sign a copy of my book for you, and I'm gonna send it to you because I want you to be like this person at the top of the mountain. I want you to be at the top there. I want you to win too. I want you to get value. You were going to say?
I was saying, how has communication changed because of Zoom or because of COVID as a result?
So it's certainly, it can be less interactive. It doesn't have to be, right? It can be a lot more arduous. It can be a lot more boring and less engaging. It doesn't have to be. We just find, and it's a great question, Mike, that we just have to be different. We have to, again, animate ourselves more, go bigger, more without being ridiculous, more voice inflection. And honestly, if you think you're being ridiculous, you probably aren't, because you have to go that big sometimes without being idiotic or being embarrassing. You have to go that big to engage people on Zoom. right? And so I may not do that, and I probably would do that in person anyways, but go big, right? So it's changed the landscape. A lot of people's screens off, or they're texting while they're whatever, or they're multitasking, or they're half in, half out, or people get bored a lot fast. You got to be engaging, you got to be on quick, you got to give tons of value, and not a lot of filler. You have tons and tons of value to keep people's attention, to get it, and to keep it on Zoom, because people are often so checked. Hey, another Zoom call is so checked out. You need to be big. Again, the why. 35 to 40% of people need to know why the hell I want to do this, why the hell I should listen, and why I should listen to you before they engage. Other people sure want to know the how. Other people want to know the what. However, a good majority of the population, like me and like a lot of the big thinkers out there, need to know, why the hell should I listen? Why do I want to care? Why the hell should I listen to you? And it doesn't have to be long. It's just, hey, I'm a best-selling author. I'm an international, whatever. I've done this for 20 years and I have, whatever. Real quick. You don't want to bore them to death. And guys, by listening today, you're going to get A outcome, B outcome, C outcome, and D outcome. And it's going to help you with pain A, B, C. It's going to help you transform that. You don't have to deal with that anymore. It's going to allow you to work less and play more, or do more of blank without doing more of blank, or do more of blank while doing less of blank. Or this is going to help you do this, or it's going to help you stop doing this, or it'll have customers come to you more and tell you, say yes to you more, or refer you more. This is why the hell you should listen to me. And people are like, oh, okay. Versus, hey, James, they're going to go up and talk about influence or NLP or persuasion or communication. Great. James is here to talk about communication. Why the hell should we listen? Why should we care? Well, first of all, do you know that you're missing 60 to 80% of people with your communication? So you're, in fact, wasting your time. You're not as effective as you need to be. So you're actually not getting the raises if you're in corporate you want, or you're not getting the clients and the sales and the deals you could be getting. You're only getting 20 to 40% of the referrals, or the closed deals, or the upsells. Would you like more? Would that be of interest, to have double while doing no less work, or have double while doing less work, and have things more fun and interesting? Is that of interest to anyone here? Cool. Perfect. You're in the right room. Or no, just me, or just Bob in the front here. Have fun with it. So why is paramount. Why, and especially on Zoom, why the hell you should care. Make it fun, interesting, gamify things, breakout rooms, hey guys, here's a message. Cool. Here's a breakout room. Go discuss it with your partners. We'll come back and debrief that. Take 2 minutes or 5 minutes, debrief. Got to be interactive. It's got to be real. Put people together. Questions, answers, and insist everyone answers. Insist everyone answers. And then everyone participates. Get participation. Make it fun. Make it interesting. Make it funny. Even if you're not naturally someone who's naturally funny, search in Google for different jokes. That are politically correct jokes. You don't want to piss anyone off or ruffle any feathers too much. That's the big thing. And go big with your voice, with your inflection, your tonality, your pitch, everything. Go big. Your gesturing. Go big, guys. You got to go big. And as you see now, I'm showing you, go big. Intent versus, I got to go big. You got to go really, really big. And that is different than go big. You got to, So that's the answer to that question for you. Great question, Mike.
James, if people want to learn more about you, or if they want to hire you, where can they find you?
Yeah. So people can find me unleashyourpower.com, or even better, unleashyourpower.com/training. That'll take you to specifically what I do. Check me out on YouTube. I have a YouTube blog and mind hack channel, which is James R. Elliot, Unleash Your Power. You'll find me that way on YouTube. And of course, just James at unleashyourpower.com. Shoot me a note. Love to connect. Again, when in doubt, unleashyourpower.com, and look forward to speaking. If this has been interesting or valuable, and you want to take your game to a whole new level, so you make a lot more money, working a lot less, or doing things more effectively, and being influential, persuasive, and really reaching people, I love to talk to you. I love to talk to purpose-driven people. Let's have a conversation. And thanks for letting me do what I love, Mike. Thanks for letting me show value and teach and educate.
Absolutely. James, we'll make it a point to put those links down below so folks can check it out.
Amazing. Thank you.
By all means, reach out to James. James, we appreciate your time today, and we look forward to meeting you again in the future.
Sounds good, brother. I appreciate you being here. Thanks again. Thanks for letting me be here and do what I love.
Absolutely.
Cool.